Hey everybody, welcome back to the Dungeon Dive. Daniel here. Alright, this is going to be a pretty quick video and just kind of giving my updated thoughts on Dungeon Crusade. A couple of people have asked me here at the Dungeon Dive and at the Dungeon Dive Facebook group, what are my thoughts of like the reprint on the Kickstarter, and should they go in if they didn't on the first edition, on the first printing. And so I just kind of wanted to talk about that a little bit, and also have an amazing giveaway for a viewer of the Dungeon Dive provided by Roger. So stay tuned to the end of this video to learn more about that. But my review for the game, I did a whole series of reviews of videos, like a whole playlist of videos. And my ultimate review was called An Uphill Battle to Greatness. And it focused on how there is a great game in Dungeon Crusade, like a really great one. But I struggled to get to it mainly because of the wordy rulebook. You know, it wasn't so much the first learn that was troubling, even though it did take a very long time to read that rulebook. But the thing that it pushed me off was the relearn. You know, this is an issue to those of us with a lot of games, and maybe an issue that is more specifically to people who do like YouTube videos where we have to play a lot of games. But we play different games frequently, we're constantly learning games, and months can go by in between playing the same game again. And you often have to relearn the game. And the thought of having to read through that huge rulebook again just to get the game out, 2 or 3 months down the line again, get it back on the table, was a daunting task. And it really turned me off from wanting to continue to play Dungeon Crusade, because I don't have a place where I can just keep it up and constantly keep the game fresh in my mind. So that it was really kind of it was frustrating to me because I wanted to play the game more, but I never wanted to read that huge handbook again and just take the time that it would need to. However, this problem has pretty much been eliminated now, and that was my main issue with the game. And that is because of the introduction of the quick reference guide. And the quick reference guide was written by Roger and also a guy named Ilpo. Ilpo's a really cool dude. He's also on the Dungeon Dive Facebook group. We have a lot in common with dungeon crawls and synthesizers. But yes, the quick reference guide is longer than some games' full rulebooks. That is definitely true. But it really does make learning and relearning the game easier, much easier. It kind of eliminates any kind of issues I have with relearning the game at all. I'm not sure if it's entirely possible to learn the whole game from just the quick reference guide, because I already have the knowledge in my head from having read through it. But I would say that if you were a new player and you wanted to jump in as quickly as possible, you could probably get pretty close to knowing how to play the game just from reading the quick reference guide. It's very good. It's very well organized, and it just it eliminates the main issue I have from the game. And the best thing about that is it's going to be it's freely available. I'll post links in the description, a bunch of links to various documents for Dungeon Crusade, so you can download it now and enjoy that. One of the coolest things about Dungeon Crusade is just the ongoing support from Roger. You know, a lot of Kickstarter designers and companies, they release a game and then they forget about the game and they quickly move on to their next project without continuing to support the community. But that is totally not the case here. Another really cool thing is in the quick reference guide, there is a new official variant called Evolved Minions. And what this is, it's basically a simplified way to handle combat between the heroes and the minions. And it's pretty great. It's good. I was wondering why this wasn't the official rules to begin with, but more on that later. But Roger fully explains this new system in some videos, and I'll post some links for those too. So I'm not going to go into like the nitty-gritty details here. But one thing it does is it includes a new roll of a D20 that is somewhat like the fray die used in Scarlet Heroes. and it makes the heroes feel a little more heroic when facing off against minions. And there's also a opportunity for splash damage that can be applied to adjacent minions. So basically what this does is it speeds up the regular combat pretty significantly, kind of streamlining it. Now, the official variant is mainly used just for minions, but I know that some players are also using it for when they are fighting guardians and champions. And doing that will make the game significantly easier, like a lot easier, but it will also speed up the game even more. Now, some people have complained about the length of the game, and it's not like this new evolved combat is going to knock your playtime down to 2 hours. You know, this is not a quick experience or anything like that. It was never meant to be a quick game. This Dungeon Crusade, even with the variant, is still a very long game, and that's okay. You know, we can have short games in the hobby, we can have long games in the hobby. There's room for both. And Dungeon Crusade is still kind of an all-day epic experience, but that's the way that it was designed. Now, really, the quick reference guide should have been included in the box from the get-go. That is just something that all games like this should have. You know, the inclusion of one just right in the box for Sleeping Gods from the Headless, my mind just blanked. Headless Hollow guys? Universal Head. The Universal Head guys was like I said in my review for that game, it filled me with confidence going forward with the game. And that now is how I feel about this quick reference guide. You know, Roger learned and he addressed this issue. So it makes relearning and learning the game so much better. And now with the reprint of the Kickstarter, us old backers, we can purchase an upgrade kit that will include a professionally printed and bound quick reference guide, which is also now included in every new copy of the game going forward. Another thing that has been like an official variant that has been added to the game is a scalable difficulty rule for the non-combat encounters and traps. So this official variant, it's included on a card, and the card will also be included in the reprint of the game and to returning backers if they get the upgrade kit. And it's also freely available just if you just wanted to download and make your own. But basically, you at level 3, it makes the game easier for lower level characters when you face your non-combat challenges like encounters and traps and that kind of thing. Basically at level 3 you play rules as written, and at levels 1 and 2 the challenges become easier with lower target numbers. So this is really great. It's kind of like playing Darklight Memento Mori using 5s and 6s as successes rather than just 6s. It makes the game more fun. And also, finally, the quick reference guide also includes pictures on how to set up each dungeon. Finally, this was a pretty glaring omission from the original release of the game. Even someone like me who kind of followed the game a little bit and kind of knew the different dungeons, I was shocked that the game did not include any pictures of how to set up the dungeons. And now everybody is getting that. So Dungeon Crusade, it is a game I think of often. And like I said, with that old rulebook, it was just really hard to get to the table. But now with the quick reference guide and also that scalable difficulty and even like the minion, the new combat, I'm like way more excited to get to the table. And for those of you who also, a common thing I hear is playing on small tables. If you watch my videos in the playlist, you will see how it is pretty easy to get the game to a small table. My gaming table is really small. I think it's like not even 3x4, I think. And so I can play this game fine on that table and one TV tray using some modified methods. It's not just straight out of the box. I've had to modify the game a little bit, but it is entirely possible. And I think the best thing about Dungeon Crusade, the thing that I think about most often when I think about the game, is how it creates these little kind of like random micro moments of adventure. And this is due to just kind of how all of the random elements align, overlap, and work. The dungeons, they kind of do feel more alive than other similar games, and that's really due to the simple but somewhat elegant and easily controlled patrol route system. You know, the way the monsters move around, how they can surprise you. There's a huge stack of event cards that keeps things exciting. There's an amazing treasure deck. Like I said in my review, it's one of the best treasure decks in any game, just because it's full of really cool random stuff. And just the amount of loot and all of the little random elements that are introduced when you play the game. Just every game kind of feels exciting. There are still a couple of things I would like to see added to the game, and hopefully there is going to be like an official expansion coming out soon, or not soon, but in the works. An expansion is in the works, and I kind of hope that these kinds of things are addressed here. One is I want there to be an incentive to trigger traps. The trap system is really cool in the game, and it has like the best art in the game. I think it's from Dean Spencer, artist. I love his line work. But for the most part, it's pretty easy to just avoid the traps, to just go around them. So I would like to see a risk-reward system added to the game that gives the heroes a reason to try to disarm them. Two, I would really like to see more complex quests, more interconnectedness between the quests. I would like to see like a connected narrative with the quests, especially how they flow from quest table 1 to 2 to 3. You know, I want things that I did at level 1 to impact the game at level 2 and at level 3. And the third thing I want to see more of are more complex hero abilities. I don't feel like the hero special abilities are exciting. I'm never excited to level up one of my hero abilities, even though I know I should. Because all you're really doing is you're increasing a target number, you're increasing a damage number, and I want to feel excited when I level up an ability, when I get a new ability, and as the game is now, I don't, and I think that could be addressed as well. So right now, I do think that the game is where it needs to be now. I wish it was at this spot when it first came out, but I also don't feel like I was duped into being a beta tester. All of the rules are there in the book, in the original handbook. Okay, nothing was omitted. You know, it was just rough working through all of the words to get to the details that I needed to play the game. But now, like, that problem is eliminated, and the first edition is entirely playable. The quick reference guide and the scalable difficulty card can be downloaded for free. I'm going to post links. Roger is just making sure to take care of people like always. The dude, he like seriously never stops working on the game, and I know he's in it for the long haul. And speaking of that, he's going to send me tomorrow, Monday. He is going to send me a complete Crusader of the Realm edition. This is the big edition of the original game that comes with the Avalon Adventure game. It comes with all of the House of Chance games. You know, this is the first edition, so it doesn't come with a quick reference guide or the scalable difficulty card, but you can download those. And he's going to send me that to give away to a Dungeon Dive viewer for free. So, man, that is awesome. Thank you, Roger. So to win the game, just subscribe to the Dungeon Dive and post below why you want to win. And additionally, when the new printing of the Kickstarter comes out, Roger's going to send me another like super special edition to give away to a super lucky Dungeon Dive Patreon. So Dungeon Dive Patreons, if you want to join the Dungeon Dive Patreon, please do. It helps keep my channel completely as much ad-free as possible. You know, I'm not doing sponsorships, I'm not doing paid promotion and paid sponsorship, so it really does help to offset the cost for the games and the things that I bring in, new equipment and that kind of thing, because it really is the only way that I'm generating any kind of revenue for the game, for the Dungeon Dive, is through patrons. So I'll post a link to that below. But yeah, so these are my thoughts on the updated Kickstarter, the reprint, and some updated thoughts on Dungeon Crusade. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and remember to enter the contest to win in Dungeon Dive Patreons. Keep your eyes posted on the Patreon page, and we'll talk about how we can win a really cool copy of Dungeon Crusade. All right, guys, take it easy. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.